Good afternoon, Sharks fans. The Sharks fall to the New Jersey Devils 2-1 this afternoon. Grab a sandwich, grab a Coke, and let's get to some hockey talk after this. But first, if you want to be a part of the show and follow along with us, check us out across all of the social media platforms, that being the YouTube chat, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, Reddit, the shenanigans that go on in the Discord, TikTok. Find everything else and more at tealtownusa.com. Support the show with a Venmo donation at tealtownusa, or Super Chat donations are always great too, or just follow along, like, subscribe, and hit the bell. I am joined by Miss Dana May. How are you doing this afternoon, Dana?
Mrs. But yes, I'm good. It's okay. I'm still getting used to it as well. I'm okay getting my booster after this. So, yeah, the Sharks look like they all got their booster this morning.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's probably more action with your booster shot than we got from this afternoon's game. But yeah, kind of a weird start time, 10 a.m. Early on the West Coast. If you're lucky enough to be catching them from the east or a little bit out of the Pacific time zone, then I think it was a little bit better.
Yeah, Central in my case, but I still managed to sleep through most of the first period, and then I had to go back and watch all of it.
Well, you didn't really miss much.
So, no time zone is free from the weekend sluggishness.
Yeah, well, the Sharks would start off with a sluggish first period as well, coming out with just 6 shots on goal in that first frame, with New Jersey's 10 shots. I mean, the one person that did start on time was Kaapo Kähkönen. Really, really impressed with his lateral movement early on in that first period, taking away some really, really good chances. New Jersey just looked like they were ready to come for the puck drop, and the Sharks kind of waded their way in, although one of the forwards who I had picked out as having a really, really tough time and ended up getting scratched last game, Kevin Labanc, came out with some really good fire and some shuffle in his feet tonight. Felt that he was picking his spots, playing a lot more with defensive responsibility, and really saw what I needed to see from him in order to continue getting ice time. Dana, what'd you think on Labanc's game this afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I have my Post-it. Spoiler alert. The tagline I wrote was Long Island born, Staten Island raised, Madison Square Garden scratched. It's no mystery why he was extra motivated in this game. It definitely showed. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe any relatives who were supposed to go to the Rangers or Islanders game ended up coming to this game. But yeah, no, I mean, I was happy with him. He was doing what we got him to do. Some good passes, some, a goal in this case. So, I mean, that's good to see. With Labanc, it's, my standard of what I expect is always going to be kind of high because of what he was supposed to be and what, we've all for so long hoped he could be. And at this point, it's like, okay, if Labanc can just be a regular in the lineup, just like be a guy who an NHL level player, I'll take it. And I think he gave us plenty of that and more. So I do hope this is going to be a turning point, hopefully.
I agree. I think, when you get that scratch, especially amongst your family and friends, it's really kind of an ego bruise, and kind of showing like, hey, there are more players that are ready to take your spot if you're not going to be, contributing night in and night out. So, again, good to see Labanc really take that message to heart and throwing pucks on the net. I mean, we looked at when he got scratched, he had 4 games played, and he was already a -3 with no points. And, people have been, kind of talking and dissecting his game. The underlying analytics with the Corsi 4 and the possession numbers say that he was, doing what he was supposed to be doing. But I was looking at shots on net, and I was looking at more along the lines of his defensive play in his own zone, which left a lot to be desired. And again, you just saw him tonight shoot the puck more, spend less time holding it and more time distributing it. So again, being much more concise with his efforts with the puck this afternoon, and that's going to be the key to his game. That's going to be the key to getting him to unlock, more points and really contributing on that line and adding to a line instead of being a net detractor from a line. However, we do need to talk a little bit about the Sharks getting into some penalty trouble in that first period. 13:41, Matt Nieto takes a hooking call against Andre Palat. The Sharks would end up killing off that penalty, but then took another penalty late in the first period with 19:14 left in the first. Tomas Hertl took the hooking call against Ryan Graves. They were able to get them continued the 0-0 score after that first period, and going into the second period, the Jersey Devils were not able to cash in on that second power play. But again, we're starting to see maybe some penalty trouble creep in with this team. Dana, I mean, is it lack of skating, or is it more stick placement? What are you seeing from the guys?
I mean, avoiding penalties is a skill, and there's just kind of a lack of skill on this roster in many ways. I don't think it's even been. I mean, I've had a bone to pick with Benning, but it's been a lot of guys. They're just kind of slow. Again, it's all these things build up, and avoiding penalties is a skill, and they're just not having it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Sharks would, again, kill that off and get to about the middle part of the frame, and then we started getting the scoring. Yegor Saragovich, with his first of the year, unassisted, coming in at 13:21. And here we've got a giveaway that leads to a goal. And, I mean, honestly, on this one, you've got to get that puck out of the boards in that left-hand corner and got to chip it into the neutral zone at least, because Kaapo Kähkönen was just left hanging out to dry on that play. If I'm looking at it, that was Vlasic who went to the corner and just could not get the puck, out to the neutral zone. You had Hertl also kind of backtracking a little bit, but again, not backtracking enough. And one thing that was kind of interesting that Randy and Drew brought up on the broadcast this afternoon was the fact that line looked slow and that it needed to continue higher pace of play in order for them to really have a shot at winning this. What'd you see from the Hertl line, Dana, that just wasn't working tonight?
Who was on Hertl's line again this game?
Timo
should answer your question.
Timo and Barabanov.
Just not enough. They just, again, like our lower lines have been providing whatever like scraps we've been getting. That goal was just kind of painful to watch because, Vlasic, he's been doing a little better. Our expectations have been quite low, unfortunately. But I think, with Carlson out there, he's going to do his thing where he just, the moment the Sharks probably have the puck, he's like, okay, cool, down to the ozone. And so there's no one left. And so then when Sharon Govich gets the puck, it's open season.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Kähkönen had no chance. He wasn't expecting the Devils to get possession because Sharks won the faceoff.
Right, and the Sharks should have had it out into that neutral zone.
That was embarrassing.
But again, just couldn't get the puck out there, and you start to see the second period troubles creeping in again.
Oh God, funeral time for the Sharks' perfect PK.
Yeah,
We made it 7 games.
Yeah,
which is good.
Unfortunately, the Sharks' PK finally breaks. It had been bending for the last few games, but not breaking. But Dawson Mercer with his second goal on the season, Heischer and Brett with the assists, 15:43 in the second period on the power play. And for the most part of that penalty kill, I thought that the Sharks were in great position, but it was just the final that final sequence where you had the puck go down low behind the net. Mercer just creeps into the slot with nobody plastering him, nobody giving him any kind of frustration, and he had the slot all to himself. And just a breakdown on the penalty kill, and unfortunately, the Sharks would be a net -1 in that second period again because of a mental lapse. And I mean, the PK has been doing great work this season, Dana. But I mean, where was the net front presence? I just, that one to me was just like, where? You had two guys literally right next to him, two white sweaters, and Mercer just split the middle and just, again, point blank on Kaapo Kähkönen. Nothing he could do there.
Yeah, no, I guess it's hard. I want to fault the Sharks, but at the same time, it was very chaotic. Kind of literally everybody, all 10 people, all on the net. So, if the Sharks aren't, I would say, like, if they're not blocking one spot, it's understandable, but it's like the number one spot you need to block is the slot just right in front of the goalie. Mercer scored on his own rebound. Cox stopped it initially. So yeah, but just no one was there, and he was within spitting distance of Kähkönen, and it went in. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't fault the Sharks on that one as much as some people might, because the Devils just seemed really determined, and Mercer was in the right spot at the right time. So that's my take. Maybe I have an unpopular opinion on that one.
No, I mean, I think I think that there was some confusion there, and when you did get that puck behind the goal, that the guys did spread out a little bit, and I think again, they kind of probably figured that the puck wasn't going to kick out directly to the slot, but I just wish they would have had a little bit maybe more coverage on Mercer there. I don't like letting guys just sit right in front of the net and take point blank pot shots on your goalie, but it is what it is. The Sharks, however, would come back and score a goal off of a face-off play with Kevin Labanc rushing down the ice with Nico Sturm on a 2-on-1. Kevin Labanc would shoot a beautiful shot and get one across Mackenzie Blackwood. So, the Sharks would end up getting that one of those goals back from the second period. Labanc with Harrington and Limbaum getting the assist there. And again, this is just what I'm seeing from Kevin Labanc was just a less of a hold it mentality and more of a shoot first and ask questions later type of mentality, and that seemed to be working for him tonight. And again, good on him for coming back after getting scratched and providing a lot of effort. And this is how he's going to be, successful in this league. And this is how he's going to continue to gain more trust in the coaching staff and stuff, is when he's able to make those quick, decisive actions, whether it be a quick first pass or a quick shot on net, but just be decisive with what you're doing and thinking less and doing more. But the Sharks would still end up with a net negative on the differential in that second period. They'd have a -1 today for their second period differential. And again, more of the same issues that we're seeing in that second period, just creeping up. So the Sharks are going to have to clean that up if they're going to want to win some more games. Going into that third period, though, the ice would be tilted slightly towards the Sharks' end, especially in the later 10 minutes, the last half 10 minutes of that third period. The shots would end up being 8-6 in favor of the Sharks in that third period. Dana, I mean, they did everything but score going in that third. I mean, what were you happy with the response after the second period in that third?
Yeah, no, they really threw everything but the kitchen. Is the phrase threw everything and the kitchen sink or threw everything but the kitchen sink? I don't know. When Carlson had a post in like the last like minute or two or whatever, that was just like, oh my God, no, because that's his element, those highlight reel goals where it's like the puck goes through like 16 people and their grandma, and you're like, how did it get through? He just has this like eagle-eyed vision, and that would have been beautiful. So I am mourning both the end of the Sharks perfect PK and also the fact that didn't end up being a goal. But the effort was there. It's unfortunate that effort only came in the 11th hour. As far as a team, I think I could see Timo put. It was kind of the only time of the game where I noticed Timo, because I could see him hustling a little more. And it really felt like something was going to go in, and it just didn't. All I can say is, I don't know if the Devils fans are going to be chanting "Fire Ruff" or "Fire Lindy" after this game. I mean, I don't know how much of their victory was him being like an amazing coach or whatever, but the Devils did win, and they are, I would say, only a few steps above the Sharks. Some people were really high on them going into this season. I'm like, really? What exactly have they done to, I don't know, take themselves to, to the next level, to be in playoff contention? And yeah, it's just, it was not to be. It's not the loss of the Sharks' loss I'm most mad about. Unfortunately, they refuse to let me have a win to talk about on an After Dark. Hopefully at some point this season. It's okay. They can go. I hope we, the tankers in the chat can accept a 280-0 season. Just for me, please just give me one win.
Yeah, the Sharks will get their last crack at trying to get an away win tomorrow evening against the Flyers. This afternoon's action ended up with 22 shots on net for the Sharks, with 36 for the New Jersey Devils. The Sharks would have 2 power plays, the second of which came in that third period at 15:41. They had the extra skater on the ice with the goaltender pulled, and like we had referenced, just could not will that extra goal in, and couldn't tie it up. But again, I think we're seeing good foundations being built. I mean, a 2-1 score says that your defensive positioning was playing very well. You had a nice bounce back goal after 2 consecutive goals have been scored against you. You come back with one of your own, so that's good for a little bit of resiliency. The shot counter was a little high, in favor of New Jersey, with the differential being about 14 shots in favor of New Jersey. But again, I think that there were a lot of good things from this game that you could take away. Kaapo Kähkönen probably played his best game of the season, ending up with let me go ahead and update the graphic, but a .944 save percentage. Originally it had been a .946, but NHL.com just updated it, so they credit him with 28 saves on 34 saves on 36 shots, good for .944. Taking a look at the ice time distributions on the defense, Erik Karlsson with about 21 minutes, Radim Šimić with about 16 minutes, Marc-Edouard Vlasic with 19 minutes, Mario Ferraro with about 24 minutes, Matt Benning 18 minutes, Scott Harrington 15 minutes. From that defense core, you got, let's see here if my math is correct. 6, 7, 9 shots from the back end. So it was good to see that the puck was being funneled a little bit from the back end. Scott Harrington chipping in with an assist from the blue line. So again, I mean, not the worst showing defensively. But still, you know, when you've got both Scott Harrington and Matt Benning out on the ice, kind of scares me when either one of those two are on the ice. So, you know, again, you're going to be looking at least, 34, 32 minutes worth of cringeworthy defensemen being out on the ice, Dana. I mean, what'd you see from those two in particular tonight or this afternoon that kind of leaves a little bit to be desired?
I'm so sorry, but you cut out for a second for me. Can you remind me which two people you're asking?
Yeah, Scott Harrington and Matt Benning, the two poster children for.
I've never heard of those people in my life.
Well, there you go. I mean,
so that answers your question. I bench Benning. I'm sorry, it's not happening. I'm sure I don't know anything about him. Sure, he's a lovely dude, but I'm not in his fan club at this moment. I was gonna say, don't you dare, dunk on the Sharks defense. Radim Šimek is a defense god, at least last game. The Sharks defense is not it. We have 2 NHL level defensemen. For Ferraro's such a can of worms right now. He'll block shots. You gotta have someone do that. Those are my thoughts on the defense. Not much. And again, Karlsson's always going to be that double-edged sword where he'll jump right into the offense, but that means that he's going to leave the D zone completely unprotected, and you're going to get stuff like what happened with Mercer. So,
yeah, I think some of the inexperience definitely showed up tonight. Switching over to the forward side, just running down quickly. Luke Cunnin tonight with almost 16 minutes. Logan Couture with 18. Hertl with 18. Labanc with 15. Barabanov with 17. So we got some good spreading out and some good distributions there on the forward side. So again, I think continue to have these good foundations. I think continue to work and tune up that second period play because it still leaves a lot to be desired. But again, you're trying to build baby steps here, and 2-1 final, isn't the final that you would want as a Sharks fan. But again, you're holding the other team to 2 goals. And when you do that, most times...
A 2 or fewer.
Yeah, exactly. A 2 or fewer. When you do that, you give yourself a really good chance, to win hockey games. Kevin Lacey, thank you for chiming in. Now everyone knows why I was so against the Matt Benning signing on the UFA show. And then coming back with, if the Sharks are playing properly as a team, though, when Karlsson is jumping up, a forward should be jumping back down to cover. And again, I think we had talked a little bit about that. It was Hertl who had really kind of busted the assignment, coming back in that first goal. And then the second goal was, of course, on the power play. So, you're already behind the 8 ball as it is. Again, it's just not enough scoring and not enough, from the guys up front. You'd like to see a little bit more pressure and a little bit more sustained zone time from the forwards, because right now it does seem like a lot of teams are honing in on that second period as the period to really press it to the Sharks. And I think going forward, you're going to continue to see teams try to exact a scoring barrage in that second period because they know that the Sharks are vulnerable there. Dana, I mean, what are your thoughts, and how have you seen the second periods maybe a little bit different than the rest of us have?
Sorry, apparently every time you mention the second period, I have a sneezing fit. So I don't know, maybe it's psychological. This was not their worst second period, to be fair. I mean, the one goal was in the second period, right?
Two goals, so both goals, yeah.
No. I mean Sharks' goal as well.
Yeah, the Sharks' goal as well was in that.
We got that's the meat in the sandwich of this game. I don't know. Because it's like I don't know how to discuss the second period issues because I cannot figure out what exactly the issue is. There was nothing unique about the second period other than the long change. If depending on what barn you're in, right? Like that's how it works, right? Where it's like if you're like
where they flip the ice, right? You change sides on the ice and you have the long change. In that second period. So
then clearly in the games where they have the long change in the first and third, those periods are still it's not good because it's the Sharks. But like I don't even know what to say because I don't even know what is the issue. We're just cursed. But again, like it was not the Sharks' worst second period ever. It wasn't our worst period, but but they got the Labanc goal, and so I guess we can just hope that the second period issues regress to the mean and become just as bad as all the other periods, just slightly less bad.
Yeah. Well, again, the Sharks would fall to the New Jersey Devils 2-1. And the face-off percentage, 52% in favor of the Sharks, 48% in favor of the Devils. Sharks go 0 for 2 on the power play. Devils go 1 for 3. You've got 35 hits from the Sharks, 12 blocks and 7 giveaways, and the Devils had 25 hits, 16 blocks and 10 giveaways this afternoon. So again, if you just take this game in a microcosm and don't look at any of the other games that have been played, you'd say that the Sharks put in a good effort, played defensively pretty well, but just couldn't get that offense. But if you take it on the whole, now this is continual offensive troubles that this team has gotten, and it needs to get some more scoring depth, and it needs to get its big guys going as well. I mean, again, you've got a Hertl, you got a Meier, you got a Couture. You've got to have one of those guys with the way that this team is constituted. You've got to have one of those guys scoring at least once a game in order for the secondary scoring to kind of help out and to chip in more. And so again, I'm just looking at these top guys, and I'm kind of wondering what's the issue, what's the power outage going on here, and is it time to maybe split up the Meier Barabanov Hertl line and maybe add a player in like a Luke Cunnin or maybe elevating a guy like a Kevin Labanc and putting him with bigger bodies. I'm not sure what the answer is, but I can tell you that what they're doing right now is just not gonna win them games, going forward. Especially if the star players are gonna play how they're playing so far.
Yeah, and I mean, when you think about it, like, we can bitch and moan about, our I was going to say third and fourth line, second, third, and fourth. I mean, all the lines, not the first, not being elite talent, but they are the only ones contributing. And so, screw it. Put Labanc on the top line. Put Cunnin and Sturm on the, top line. Just try something. Mix it up, because it's like, the leaders on the team are supposed to be the ones holding other guys accountable. And just like, who is going to hold Couture accountable? Who's going to hold Meier accountable? Who's going to hold Hertl accountable? They're the ones who are supposed to be the leaders holding other players accountable. And I don't know what it is, because Hertl is not the kind of guy, Hertl in particular, is not the kind of guy who's like going to be half-assing it, or, he plays with his heart on his sleeve. And so I just don't even know what to say. Whereas like, with Couture and Meier, sometimes you can see them pull back a little bit. They're very emotional players. I mean, so is Hertl, but I don't know. I think just hopefully Quinn even as a new coach, has the guts to lay down the law and say, you guys are supposed to be our top contributors. There have been games, most of the games I'd say, where a goal or two from the top line would have put the Sharks over the top. It's not like they've been blown out every single night. A goal would have tied up this game, and they could have potentially won it. Especially I think our top three, are the three guys we'd be putting on in OT, unless you're Bob Bugner and one of those guys is Matt Nieto, is still going to be better than, with the Devils. And so I think if we had gotten to that OT, we would have had a really good chance at winning, but it was not to be.
Yeah. They're just not.
Yeah. If I can kind of sidetrack, I wanted to respond to Kevin's been dropping some zingers in the chat. And, one thing he said about the Devils probably being better off for not signing Gaudreau, I 100% agree. They don't need another Gaudreau. They have like 3 or 4 Gaudreaus. And unfortunately, it looks like Gaudreau's presence in Columbus hasn't been, completely rocketed them to the top of the league, like some people might have thought. I kind of wonder even if Philly was better off for not signing Gaudreau, because it seems like John Tortorella is making a difference and just being laying down the law. They have some decent pieces, so that's something unsharks related that I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on. I don't think any of this is the fault of Gaudreau. He's obviously a phenomenal player, but it is interesting to see what is he without his line mates being in one of the top tier lines in the league last season. That line is no more, and so now we see what the players are without one another.
Yeah, for sure. So your Sharks now in the standings, if we take a look at the standings, are sitting at a .143 points percentage. That's good enough for 1-6 start to your 2022-23 season. The Sharks currently sit at the bottom of the league in the standings, currently sporting the worst differential in the league with a -11. Just rough times for the Sharks, and rough times to be breaking them down, to be quite honest. However, like everybody is saying, you do get the better odds come draft time, but still, I'd like to see some better foundation, and like to see a little bit more fight and a little bit more effort at times. You had, let's see, who coming out of this. I'm taking a look through the chat here. Butch coming out with Simic showing more than Hertl and Meyer since the start of the season. And outside of the couple of games in Prague, I have to agree. I mean, I think Šimek has been a pleasant surprise on the blue line, kind of coming back to a little bit of his old form. Now, mind you, not as quick as he was in his peak form, but again, it's good to see him start to bring the physical presence on the blue line, and he has played well through these first 7 games. And we got some more. We've got some more comments. Patrick Tyler just chiming in on Sillinger and Chinkov bringing next steps. Gaudreau, some more Gaudreau comments on not gelling well in Columbus. I mean, I think like you, the New Jersey Devils probably did a solid by not signing a Gaudreau because of where they're at in their rebuild and more along the lines of having younger players and kind of almost starting to peak up. We're kind of on the upswing now with New Jersey's rebuild. Adding a guy like Gaudreau, I think maybe hurts that mix a little bit, and it takes playing time away from young guys who need to make the next steps, like a Nico Hischier or one of the Hughes brothers. So again, I think the New Jersey Devils will be better, and I think that they're on the rise, but I think it's probably maybe 1 or 2 seasons too early to be talking about them, really making a shot and really making noise in that Metro. So again, the Sharks putting themselves behind the 8 ball, and they've got another Metro Division showdown against the Phillies tomorrow. What are you looking at for that game, Dana? And I mean, do you give the Sharks any confidence factor in winning that game tomorrow?
I do. I think there's a chance. I mean, I know I've been saying like I was not on the team of predicting the Philly to be just absolute dumpster of the league. I think any team who has Tortorella is going to be whipped into shape, at least somewhat. I'd say 50-50 on the next game. It's just goddamn, just do something about that second period. I don't know, double the dose of smelling salts, slap each other in the face during first intermission. I don't know, something. So really that's what I'm going to be watching. But like I said, I'm getting my booster after this, so I might be a complete zombie and just sleep through the whole thing. We'll see.
Thanks, AJ, for the comments coming in from the locker room. Quinn saying that both Hertl and Meyer are healthy, says that they're pressing. When guys that are scorers don't get rewarded or get points, you become consumed with it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely part of it. Could the quest for scoring be detracting from other parts of their game at this point? Do you think that they're cheating maybe a little bit more for offense and giving up some more defensive plays? I mean, again, with the guys, you really just don't know what they're thinking and what their mindset is. But to me, this seems like a frustrated group. It seems like, a lot of things haven't been going right so far early in the season. And again, I think maybe it's time to readjust some of those energies and get back to the basics instead of worrying about scoring so much. Just get back to basic positioning, get back to basic foundation and footwork and positioning up on the boards, good zone entries and zone exits, getting those small chips into the neutral zone, when you've got, 2 forwards kind of pressing in if you're a defenseman. I mean, these just the little things. Let's start with the little things first, and then the scoring will kind of come and fix itself. But again, you can't cheat. You can't cheat for offense because it's gonna end up in the back of your net, and we've been seeing it that these guys are trying to press for goals or trying to press for offense, and it ends up just in the back of the net. Well, Dana, I'm going to hand the floor over to you with your Post-it notes of the afternoon. Let's hear what you got.
I was just going to say, we got some zingers. As far as Post-it counting, I actually can't remember if it was 10 we left off. Anyway, I have 5 today. I'll look at the numbers later and I'll let y'all know next game. Sharks PK, RIP. Just a lot of the things we kind of went over. I on the broadcast, Randy said after the Labanc goal, like, "Oh, I'm glad he shot the puck because he should be shooting the puck." Absolutely. The Sharks are the number 1 culprits in the league of this, like, oh, no, I don't want to shoot it. You shoot it. Oh, no, thank you for the pass, but I don't want to shoot it either. You take it. Hot potato and it's like, you just shoot. If you just shoot, some of y'all might actually score a goal. So that's something they got to work. But it's like they've always been like that. Which is one reason that the power play has been historically bad. I think if they just take more chances, like Carlson did during this game, it hit the post, but it was real close. And so I think if he had gotten 1 or 2 more shots like that, something would have gone in. So yeah, shoot. When Bonino had a little scare, I said, bones hurt. Sad face. Yeah, Kähkönen had a great game, but one thing was a little bit of a dumb giveaway from him to Hamilton, which luckily did not result in a goal. But I was spooked for a second because I was like, no, 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 do not end up on Steve's dang it. Don't do it. They love to put the goalies on blast for the dumb giveaways. He didn't even come that far out of the net, if I recall correctly. But I remember one year, Steve had like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 Devils embarrassing errors every week. Like that one game where they allowed 3 own goals somehow. Oh gosh, I love those. I look forward to those every Thursday. Yeah, I think. Anyway, it was not to be. Luckily, that didn't end up being an issue, and obviously, otherwise, Kähkönen had a very good game. Carl at the post. Yeah, that's about it for now. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, hit the bell so that you're notified after every Sharks game. Of course, we go live, whether it's morning, noon, or evening. We're here sporting and talking about our team after wins or losses. But I think we have some more things to look forward to this afternoon. If you haven't already, go check out the Barracuda. They're going to be a very, very fun game. You've got the Tech CU opening tonight. You've got Bordelot and Eki on the ice playing some really, really fun hockey. And again, check out the Baby Sharks, because, there are going to be some names that you're going to see there that are going to percolate up to the big club pretty soon, sooner rather than later. So, yeah, check it out. Again, we will be coming to you live after the Philadelphia Flyers game tomorrow. That will be a pucknologist takeover. So instead of it being your standard 7 o'clock game, they will go live after the game tomorrow. So check out AJ and Jerk on that cast tomorrow. Should be pretty awesome, and they will also break down the week that was in Sharks hockey. In case you missed it or you want to check us out again, check out the YouTube replay, subscribe, like, hit the bell. Always check us out across all the podcasting platforms, that being Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, and Odyssey, available on the Odyssey app now. That's very cool. Always checking us out at tealtownusa.com. Dana, what are your final thoughts and where the people can find you?
Stream Midnights by Taylor Swift. Stream Carly Rae Jepsen's album as well if you get a chance. Poor girl had to release her album on the same day. As far as the Sharks, I do think they have a decent chance of winning the next game. I'm kind of on Team Tank, but not really. I'm on Team Let the Sharks Be Fun Bad. Score some goals, put in the effort, and at least, maybe if what we predict, it's I don't know what Money Puck said, but they are absolutely under 10% chances at the playoffs. I think it was like 5. So, whatever. Clearly that ship sailed. So, we're almost definitely already, we have almost definitely earned ourselves a pretty good lottery spot. So just ride it out. I want to see the effort put in. I want to see Quinn, hone into being their coach. And I think the big first order of business for him right now is lay down the law with the top line, because it's not enough, and we know they have the capability. We know that it's not a matter of a lack of talent in that first line. Look at Meyer last season. He absolutely tore up the league, and they still were a bad team at the end of the day. So yes, that is possible. I want to have something to watch, and if the babies aren't going to be called up too much, so be it. But there are still players that I want to see succeed and have a good season, and pull their weight. So
Yeah,
Yeah, it
great
is what it is.
great points, and I think I'll just chime in with adding, good fundamental hockey, making sure that you're building the organization back up in the correct way, so that when you do get the injection of youth, they're coming into a stable and good environment. Again, you want these top highly rated prospects, to come into a system that will accentuate their best features. And that's really starts with tomorrow. Showing putting a good game against Philly, and again, good fundamentals. As far as where you can find me, you can use my first name, that's Erik, last name Landi, across all of the social media garbage. And for everybody at Teal Town, USA, keep it real, keep it Teal, keep it real, Teal. Thank you so much, and we will see you after tomorrow's game against the Flyers. Check out AJ and crew. Have a great one, everyone.